Okay, work with me, y'all. Work with me. This is Rodney Grimes Live, PTP. Technology, man, is something when you're trying to change it around, and you're born in this time like this. Okay, so Kina, um, I would like you to try to get back in. Let me see. Invite. All right. Now I'm starting to shake, and we are trying to get this to come through. I tell you, it's something. Okay, and add. Let's see what happens. It says the guest declined live video invitation. No, she didn't. Okay. There you go. There you go. Now, are you upright?
Yes.
Okay, and I am too.
Oh, yay!
All right. Isn't God good? What I first
Yep.
say, devil, devil, be gone. You know what? I rebuke the devil. I do not entertain the devil in any kind of way. Anytime he's trying to change things or make things difficult, I just say, devil, be gone.
That's right. That's right.
So, first of all, welcome everybody that's joining in. I know people will start coming in. This is Rodney Grimes, live real talk, people to people, power to power, positive thinking people. I am so excited that I have a very, very special individual on with me today, Miss Kina Holmes. How you pronounce the last name properly?
Cypress.
Cypress. Okay. So I always, when I start to get into this level, I have to kind of tone myself down and let my energy just gets in so I can get into the flow. I'm excited because you are one of my favorite people in the world. I just truly, truly admire you, what you have accomplished in your life. I want to first let people know that neither one of us claim to be experts. But we are people who care. We are people who love helping people. And we strive off facts and things that we experienced. And the things that we're going to share today, it's not going to be new to some people, but it's going to help a lot of people. Because some of the information that we're going to talk about, if you just practice it or you pay attention to it, it could help change some of the things in your life. And again, Kina is a very, very unique queen that I had the privilege of knowing her all her life. And I've taken the opportunity to watch her develop into the woman that she is today. And I just find her to be an amazing parent. And with that said, that was one of the reasons why I invited you to come in. So I want to say thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Gave me a reason to get dressed up.
How about that? So if you would, first of all, can you just give a little bit on your background, who you are, where you from, and then some of your history.
So I'm Kina Holmes Cypress, like he said. I'm from Alexandria, born and raised. I grew up actually on the west side of Alexandria, like the landmark area. But I had the privilege of having a grandmother in Old Town and a grandmother in Del Rey. So it was like a little mixture of all of that put together. And I am a mother and a wife. I have 3 children. I have a 19-year-old, so I have an adult. I have a 13-year-old and an 8-year-old. So I have one daughter and 2 sons.
That is amazing. And this is, as I may share with some of the people who are already just tuning in, I watch you grow into the mother that you are. All three of your children are amazing. They are amazing individuals. I knew your grandparents, so I definitely know your parents as well, and I've seen some of the things that has molded you into the woman that you are today. So the topic today is uh, parenting, and so what I wanted to do is to talk to you because I see the success you're having with your kids. and I wanted you to just kind of give me some pointers and some other individuals or some of the things that you use to put your kids in the position that they are today. And the reason why I'm saying that, one of your kids is actually in college right now, right?
Yes, he is. My son Bryson, he's 19. He's a freshman in college. You know, you work so hard to get your kids in school, and when it happens fast. So I wasn't prepared that he'd be gone, like actually gone. Like you were excited about it. That's your goal, to get them where they need to be, kind of give them that space to succeed. But when they leave, it's like, oh, what just happened? What just happened? So he's in college, exploring. He actually went away. So he was in North Carolina. And God was definitely good to us. I had no idea where he was going to go to college. And actually, my college roommate, son, goes to the same college. So
Okay.
my college roommate, my freshman year, we drove our kids to college together, which was something that we didn't expect. That was just, full circle. So God is not an option for us. So of course we put him in God's hands and said, hey, what's going to happen? We didn't know where he was going to go. He's always played basketball all his life. So he had a dream deferred a little bit with basketball. So we said, look, hey, basketball players get injured. They get, put on the bench, but education is a priority. That's what it's about. So he ended up going to a college we had never heard of, had never looked at, and ended up, one of my girlfriends that I met at my job is a professor at the college. We didn't even know until like maybe 2 weeks before he was going there that she was already there. So, God had kind of planted that already. So she's a professor at the college, so I was able to leave him in good hands. So
Let me ask you this question. As a parent, how did you prepare him to want to go to college while he was a young teenager?
well, we started I have very good friends. My kid's godmother, I met her in college. So my college girls, we call ourselves the sisters. And so he saw that bond early on as a kid that we developed from college. So we would go to homecoming. He would be with us. We would go to the football games. We would show him around the campus. So it was kind of like, hey, this is what is the next step for you, not pressuring him, but he kind of saw that, hey, this is what it could be if you want this. And so we started early on just exposing him to the stories and the fun we had and maybe the hard work it was. So he got a chance to see that early on, that, hey, this is what, and my husband and I actually share our stories about when we were in school and, what that was like. So that's pretty much how it started.
So and now, knowing that from your grandparents and your parents, because I know them, and I know that in our time, college wasn't something that was really a serious asset for us or available. How did you end up going to college?
Well, I would say it was something that was instilled in me from school, from my teachers, from my counselors. Growing up in Alexandria, the neighborhood I lived in was pretty much all single mothers. And so we had the privilege of going to Fairfax County schools, and we had great counselors that kind of told us, hey, if this is what you want to do. So I had one lady, because it only takes one. I had one counselor who said, hey, you have potential. You can go to college. And I'm like, how am I going to do that? That costs. So she sat me down. She said, you come here once a week, how many days? And you sit with me. She sat with me. She created like a biography of who I was that I didn't even know I could be on paper, look like on paper. She just kind of showed me things, and she put in 4 scholarships for me. But my grandmother, she was very instrumental. She did not go to college, and she wanted to, but she went to learn a trade, was very smart, graduated early, just so intelligent, and was like, hey, this is what you need to do. She got people together and filled out some scholarship paperwork for me. So things just started happening for me from that one counselor, my grandmother, And my mom was like, hey, whatever you gonna do, you better get some money because I ain't got none.
You know what I see right now. This is another reason why I also wanted you to be my guest. I see your other two children going to college too, and they have big age difference. But I see that already because your second son, how's he doing in school?
Well, he's doing great. He's more like, hey, whatever his brother did, he wants to do and he wants to do better. That's his thing. And he enjoys school. He's an excellent student. And we probably push college more for him than we do for my older son, because he is very organized, very determined, very driven. And so, we try to support that. Kids are different. All of them are different, and hey, it's so much more. We let them know, hey, it's so much more you can do in the world. Yeah, college is definitely something I want to see you do, but I also want to see you figure out who you are, figure out what your goals are, because my daughter, she's all over the place. She 8, she is like into her art, she's into sewing, she's into this, she's into that, gymnastics, she's all over the place. And my husband tells her, oh, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be, and she's like, every day we see her and we like, she ain't gonna be none of that. She gonna be what she wanna be.
That's now that was something. So I'm gonna talk about your parents a little bit, because one of the things that I think that you gathered from them, and that is, we didn't have the opportunity to be exposed to college like that and going to different schools because of the times, but because of the love that you received, and I would say, you was protected all over the place. But I know that you received that what we call that agape love, that love that God give you.
Mm-hmm.
I saw your mom really, really put that into you, and in your grandmothers too, and pretty much everybody that was around you. Do you think that played a big factor in why you was able to become the parent that you are today?
Absolutely. Um, I had a mom who was straight up. My mom she didn't cut corners. She loved you, but she let you know. I'm probably a little bit more protective with my tongue as a mom, but my mom was straight up with me. I can remember an incident, and this is no offense to anyone, but there was an incident where I was in my bedroom and I had placed a shirt over my head to replicate hair. Okay. So you know what kind of hair we talking about.
Right.
And so she walks in the room and she sees me with this fake hair I'm flowing all around. And she came in there and she said, you need to take that off your head. She said, you are beautiful with the hair that you have. You need to
Mm-hmm.
take that off, and you don't need to be anybody else but yourself. And at that moment, when you're like the only Black person in your class, you start to look around and you start to second guess who you are. And my mom was like, oh, no, we're not doing that. She was the person that was straight up and tell me. She probably doesn't even know the impact it had on me, but she was straight up with me. When I needed to be disciplined, she let that happen. But she allowed me to negotiate as well. I negotiated grades for time, with curfew. I'm like, can I take that up one more hour since I got this A or I got that? She let me negotiate, but she was also watching me and making sure that, just certain things didn't happen, because her thing was not to become a teenage mother. That was just like, we all have something we're striving for in our kids. Like some of it might be like, oh, you're going to go to college, you're going to do this. But my mama, it was, you ain't going to get pregnant as no teenager, because you can't do nothing if you get pregnant, because you're going to take care of this kid on your own. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I can't go nowhere with a child. So she made it clear, because that was what was happening during that time,
Right.
teen pregnancy. So that was a priority to her, was making sure I didn't fall into that. But yes, indeed, I mean, having so many women in my life to direct me and be an example was so important, and so many men too.
Yeah. So that's that. So as what would be like? Okay. So I'm again. I want the guest that's joining in to know who you are. This is Kina Holmes, Cypress.
Cypress.
Okay. And I asked her to come on because I've had the opportunity to be around all three of her children. They're very respectful. Her oldest son is in college. Her second son is like an A+ student in school, adamant about trying to be the best he can be. And then at the same time, the daughter, who's the youngest, I have without a doubt, because I know that the bloodline that she comes from, that she's going to be phenomenal as well. And so I asked you to come on because I think that you kind of got this parenting thing under control. Because I see even the way that your son, who's 18 years old, he's a gentleman. 19. 19. And I see the way that he operates and how you and your husband, how y'all conduct yourself around them, that they're very respectful. And and to me, I call you a young parent because of course I'm way much older than you, but I call you a successful parent. And that's what really excites me. And so what would be some of the things that you would share with some other parents who are new at this right now, who are dealing with 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, and children that are under 10 years old?
Well, one of the things that I will say that has played in my life to be like so important is that building that village. I have a best friend who's my kid's godmother, and everybody knows who she is and what she means to my family. But you know, back in the day, you had people chose godparents. It was really serious. You came to the church when they were baptized or Christian. That was important. And I saw that, I don't know, I saw that in one of my friends had godparents, and they would pick them up and they would just do these things. And so I chose a godparent for my children who was there when they were born, but also shares in my values. And also, if something were to happen to me, you know, that person can pick back in. So I picked up where I left off. But I think what's important is the team that you create for yourself. You know,
Yeah.
my kids are fortunate enough to have had two grandparents who were preachers. You know, so it's like just choosing that team because it means so much. It gives your kids a sense of protection, because I know I felt like I could do whatever I wanted to do based on the team my mom had, the protectors, like you being one of them. Because I mean, you probably spoiled me a little more than probably was necessary, but having that team saying that, hey, because you were also the same person that could pull my card if I wasn't doing things, but you knew how to do it. And I think that's what's important. Like my kids' godparents, it's not just her being a godparent, but like I said, my college girlfriends, and I have all my friends I grew up with, and I have a god sister. Like, I'm not saying you got to have so many people in your circle, but you need to be able to call on someone that you can talk to when you don't know what to do. When you don't know, because there's no book that says this is how you parent. Because I have 3 kids with 3 different personalities. I have one
Right.
kid who you don't know if he's even breathing because he's so quiet,
Yeah.
and you don't know what he's thinking. And I have, you know, another child who's now getting in his teenage way and becoming somebody totally different and trying to find himself. And then now, you know, I have a daughter, so that's totally different. I had boys. Look, we could get on the road and they could pee on the side of the car. It was no problem. We could do it. Now I have a daughter, and it's like, okay, do my husband take her in the bathroom with him? Do I take her in the bathroom with me? So that started a whole new way of thinking. But yeah.
That's amazing. Real quick, what I want to do is I just want to say welcome to some people that are tuning in. We have Marquette, Verrett, Regina Fields, Howard Henderson, Malik Blandon, Rachel Pope, Natasha Brown, with this Granville, GC Lee Jr., John Hayes, Alphonse. Oh, your husband. Yeah, Katrina, Roxy, Stephanie. Okay. So welcome everybody that's joining in, everybody that has been in with us, those who are just joining in. This is Miss Kina. She is an amazing young lady. I just kind of give people a little bit about your background. So you graduated from Howard University,
Yes.
and you also are you a do you is your label is like a social worker or
Yes, I'm a social worker in
okay,
Washington, D.C.
and so you also deal with disabled and aging people as well.
Yes, yes, I do.
So do that play a part in how you are able to, by you being able to see these different things, do that help you what approaches to have when dealing with your children?
Well, look, when I first got out of social work school, I got my master's. I'm like, I got my job. My grandma prayed with me. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get this job. I got the job, and I had the job without having any children. So I was charged with investigating child abuse in Washington, D.C. without a child. And so I was like, oh, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And so I was coming across, I worked in a special abuse unit when we were kind of working with just child abuse, fatalities. And so we would get kids that were injured or hurt or what have you. And I would be like in a position to decide whether a child was neglected or not or abused. So I had my first child, right? This is the same social work job. I did two things in a matter of 2 years. One, he fell off the bed. Then two, I locked him in the house by accident, got him dressed for church, and then locked the door. Now he was locked out. But when he fell off the couch and he didn't get hurt, like no broken bones. He was hurt, but no broken bones. I instantly realized, like, oh my God, did I really know what I was doing? That time period, I didn't have a kid. So it really helped me create a sense of understanding when I approach my job with people who have children. They may have 5 or 6, and I had none. And then when I had that one child, I learned so much more. And it was an upgrade on my compassion at what I, do with the families. It gave me, so every time I had a new child, it brought some experience with it. Because as social workers, when you don't have a child, that's the first thing someone says to you is, you don't have no kids. You don't know what you're talking about. So we have a line ready. We say, no, we don't have children, but we do understand the law. We understand what it means to keep children safe. But until you have your own, or even if you don't have your own biological kids, you got to go take care of somebody's kid and be a part of nurturing and caring for someone else's child. Parents could respect you more when you're trying to talk to someone about how to discipline their child, or we can get right into it when we talk about discipline, physical discipline, spanking.
Right, right. So let me ask you about this. So what's your take on parenting, being a parent and doing it with guilt?
Well, I think what I see a lot of times is we as parents, we do what I feel is guilt parenting. Like if we're a single parent and we're taking care of our kid, we got the wrong partner to have a child with, and we decide that, hey, I'm gonna do this by myself. We tend to kind of like get rid of the discipline because we feel bad for the decisions we've made. Like we feel guilty, like, did I do this right? Or am I a good parent? And so what happens is we start becoming like friends, and the kids start to manipulate us, and you have that little gray area where, you're feeling so bad. And what happens is I found it leads to, okay, you had the first person didn't work out. So then you got to go find someone else because you feel guilty. Then you find someone else. And so it can kind of create this whole madness where, you're really not focusing on, hey, this is this kid. I have to parent this kid. This kid needs to know, hey, I'm the boss and he can't get over on me, and this is what I need to do. So I just feel like that's what I feel about guilt parenting.
Yeah. So being the topic is parenting with passion. So how do you feel about this in this day and time? Which the age limit that you think is appropriate, that kids should have access to the phones and being able to walk around with cell phones and those type things like that, giving them exposure to the media.
Yeah, that's a good one. My son Bryson, he got his first phone at 10. And I mean, his godmother bought him the phone. I probably wasn't ready for the phone. We started off with like the little Game Boys, and then, you know, kind of worked our way up. But I think it's 10. I think like Bill Gates or somebody said he felt like it was 10 years old. So when I read that, I was like, ooh, I did the right thing. But I think it's about now all these devices now have ways of communicating with other people. So even though they may not have a phone, they can call you from. My daughter, she is not 10 yet. So she's trying to debate about how she could, because she's 8, how she could get her phone. So she's found a way to communicate through her iPad. So it's not just a phone now. She plays like games where she could chat. So I have to monitor that. Like, hey, you can't chat with people. You think they are a child, but this is some crazy person out pretending to be a child so he could come get you. Like I tell her straight up, he can find your IP address on this computer and come knock on this door or see you outside. Like I'm giving them the horror story. See you outside and come snatch you, you know?
Right.
And so I just think 10 is that age where, you know, it's a good age. But I see them early as, you know, we hand them the phone now because we use it as a TV. So,
Right.
like, you know, we can go online. So, you know,
It,
that's just
it's
me.
it's almost we give them the phones and we give them these tools. It's almost like giving the baby the pacifier. We do this to say, okay, I'm gonna give you this so that I can get you to calm down and be quiet,
Hmm.
and so I can do what I want to do. But
Yeah.
one of the things that I would like also to discuss now, do you consider yourself a friend to your children?
I try not to, I try not to, I'll say I could be friendly and be someone that they feel comfortable talking to, but they definitely know I ain't their friend.
Right.
It's just things that you know, it's just things I'm not allowing because they see my interactions with my mom, with my dad, and they see how it goes, and how we interact, and that, you know, my mom and I, we have lots of fun, we joke or whatever, but they hear us fussing. I mean, my mom and I still fuss with respect, heated fellowship. We may have a debate about something, but I'm not going to take it there. I'm not going to go too far, and they still can see that. So they know that it's, you know, what's necessary, but they definitely know I'm not their friend. They know, you know, hey, if I gotta roll up on you, I'm gonna roll up on you. And they almost big. Well, everybody's bigger than me except for except for Allie. Because, but hey, I'm going to definitely set that boundary for them.
That's one thing that because some of the guests, I have to let them know, and I hope you don't mind that you are my goddaughter, and I know you know, and I am so proud of this young lady because I've seen her just navigate through life to where she is today, being a parent and being such an amazing parent. And I remember one time, I remember something happened, and I saw your mom get at you and she made it very clear, I'm not your buddy. I remember this a while back, and I don't remember exactly what took place, but I was in my feelings because I ain't never seen her get that aggressive with you. But I realized that she made it clear that she wasn't playing. And so that was one of the things that I thought that was really an issue with many people who are parenting, that they try to be friends. And so I watch you with your young adult son, and I notice in his presence with you and your husband, he still watches how he conducts himself. And so that was one of the things that a while back I was so impressed with it because your husband also is I consider y'all both to be kind of like stern a little bit because y'all don't play when it comes to your children. And I
Yeah.
see that. And so, you know, that was one of the things that I noticed when y'all were around with your children. They know how to stay in their place, and they don't navigate out of it and get. You can go into some stores and you can see children throwing books at their parents and screaming and yelling and whatever. And I know
Yep.
that don't happen. I know that
Well,
do not happen with you and your
let me
husband.
let me tell you, my husband and I grew up very different. He's a PK kid, a preacher's child, and was very structured. He had a very structured lifestyle, and my mom wasn't as structured. Her thing was, this is the time frame. You come at this time, as long as you're not, but don't let her find out something. I remember there was a situation where somebody was playing, crank calling was out. Crank calling was a thing when I was young, where you just call people and you breathe on the phone, or you say crazy stuff and hang up on them and joke. Well, someone had crank called a lady in my neighborhood and said my name in the background or mentioned me or something. And the lady called my mom and was like, yeah, Kina, somebody called and it wasn't Kina, but they said her name and something. And I'm just in the neighborhood playing. And next thing you know, this lady is walking through the neighborhood yelling my name, hair rolled up, everything. I was like, oh, Lord. Everybody went in the house. They was like, here come Bonnie. She don't play. But the lady thought it was me, but it wasn't. So she was that parent, like she was heated because she had raised me to present myself a certain way, and she probably didn't believe that it was me. It wasn't me. I'll just say that it wasn't me. It was someone who said my name. I don't even know if they said my name, but it was something I learned early on, that it's one thing that she's raising me, but also she ain't play about, reputation. We're not having you out here, people saying you doing this and you're doing that, and so that was very important to my mom, is that, hey, let's talk about it. I don't want to be the first. I don't want to be the last to know. I want to be the first to know. So I was that kid that come and tell on myself, because I'm
Yeah.
like, because if she find out from someone else, that's gonna be worse.
That
You know?
that so that's one of the things like that with parenting, and I think that is very important. We know that we come up in different areas, but you take from what you got from your parent, and then you take it and then you make it better, and you put
Yeah,
it where now dealing with your children, you say, okay, I'm not going to let them get away with this because my parents let me get away with it, and I
yeah,
almost did that. So
yeah.
you use the past from your past life and your upbringing to help
Mhm.
you to be the parent that you are today. Again, I want to welcome Brenda. Uh, what's this? Kiana, Kiana, uh,
Kiana,
Tanika, Tamika, uh,
Tamika,
Anika, Roxy,
hey,
Joy, Jackie, Kimberly.
Brooklyn in the house.
What's this? Rosalind and who is this? Patrina. Uh, and
Wow.
okay, we got Belinda,
Hey,
Natasha,
Brooklyn.
Deacon, Evangeline, Catherine. Okay, welcome everyone that's joining in. Everyone that's just joining in. This is Kina. I keep being scared to pronounce your last name.
Don't
It's
worry about it. Just call me Keena.
okay. So anyway, I chose you again because just looking at your children and your friends, I noticed even your friends. I think that y'all use that village type um, um, routine to help raise your kids together
Yep,
because
yep.
because all of your friends that I see around you with their children, the kids are so much more respectful than a lot of kids that I see
Rich.
out in the street. So I think that it is really, really important that again that they do see your relationship with other people, knowing how to
Yeah,
conduct themselves, and knowing also that you know they have individuals that they can come to. Kids have to know that they can come to you. They don't come to you as your buddy. They need to come to you as their protector,
yeah,
the one
yeah.
that's going to definitely. So give me a little bit of insight on that. So do you feel like with your daughter? So are you prepping her now? Are you prepping her now with the information that she needs to know as a female?
Hmm. Well, having a for one, I had my daughter at an older age than my first son. So, you know, my thing is I prayed for my daughter to have a girl, and then now I have a girl. I'm like, oh, what? So, you know, it's like I do a little bit of both. I don't want to be to the point where I'm saying girls should wear dresses, girls should, you know, I don't want to be that parent, but I definitely, I'm like, look, this is what society may tell you. This is what I'm going to tell you. You're going to have to know how to work that. You're going to have to know how to understand what that's like being a lady and not being so trusting. You
Right,
know, you have to not be defensive, but be able to navigate the world. Taking care of yourself is important. Self-care, being able to take care of your hygiene, being able to understand that, you know, you could be beautiful on the outside and, you know, be self-centered and, you know, selfish. And so we, with her, is we're working on a lot of things, you know, working on things, you know, the inside on the outside, like being quarantined. That's my best friend now. She
right.
followed me all around. Today it was facials with the cucumbers and you know, it was all kind, it's been everything. We're outside. She's well-rounded like myself. She could play with worms. She swam with sharks. She even when Tammy and Micah got married in the Dominican Republic, we decided to go out in the middle of the water, and I wasn't getting my hair wet for one. That wasn't happening. But so the guys went out, and I told her, you don't have to go out if you're scared. You don't have to go out. You can sit right here with mommy and be right here. So she sat there with me, and then she looked. She was like, Dad, come get me. I'm not sitting out here. She didn't care about the fact that her hair was done. She didn't care about none of that. She went right out there and was holding on. And when I saw that, I was like, yes, that's nice. That's, you know, I want her to be adventurous and not worry about her hair and all of that kind of stuff. Just to kind of like, you know, be able to protect herself, be able
You
to
mean
understand.
you mentioned her dad. So how is it? How is it with him when he's disciplined the daughter versus the son? Is he real soft? Do you melt like butter with her?
Well, initially that was happening. So I try to back away, but I say, you know, now I'm like, okay, his discipline sometimes might be just like the boys, like in the tone and all that. And I'll say, uh, you know, I'm trying to figure out, like, I don't want to be stereotypical, but I'm like, I don't want her getting used to being spoken to by
Aggressive.
men so aggressively. But I also want her to know the difference between aggression and discipline. So it's like, ugh, you know, it's hard because, you know, I grew up with Carter in the house, my dad, and he didn't really like, there was no yelling, and he left the discipline up to my mom.
Yeah.
So that's different for me, you know.
Both your mom and dad, again, as I know them very well, are very, very straightforward people. I saw them how they were. It wasn't a lot of playing games with you, and they don't do that with their grandchildren either. And so I say this parenting, when you're being a parent and you're doing it with passion. Let me speak about your dad a little bit. Um, he's a very, very serious guy. I consider him part Jamaican. That's an inside joke that you and I would know. But one of the things that I know, and this is also with your husband and some of the other men, and I'm going to include myself as well, that carry ourselves in a very, very stern way, that the boys are able to see this. So it makes it easier for you to parent, to be a parent, because you have these examples in front of you that you can
Yeah.
lean on. And
Yeah.
so as people out here are being young parents, always try to find somebody that's kind of like a mentor or somebody that's going to be able to set an example. Because
Yeah.
I know that as you came up as well, and a lot of other females that's in the family, y'all didn't run around, like wild cats in the street.
No.
Y'all carried yourself pretty much like ladies. Most of the time in church, brought up with God in your life, so that was definitely a plus. But again,
Hey,
my
Kim.
my concern where I really be panicking is with these young parents today, that these kids are so out of control. And again, that was another reason why when I just looking at your children, I was like, man, I really take my hat off to you and your husband, because I just think that y'all doing an amazing job. And I know that they, all three of them, are going to be some real good goal setters and some positive adults when they reach that age where they're able to be self-sufficient and take care of themselves. So again, now that you got one son in college, okay, and you know what? Before I even go there, what I want to do is let me kind of, we want welcome some people. I see your mom is actually on, and I think your dad too.
Go fun. Go fun.
We got Tammy, our cousin. Welcome. And so if it's some people that want to ask some questions, please feel free to do so. I got a monitor right here that I'm paying attention to. Carlos, Tammy, Ella, Dino, Desi, and Troy. Welcome everyone that's tuning in. We're talking about parenting with passion. We're talking about being a parent and not being your child's friend. We're talking about some of the things that Kina, who's my special guest, who has a son 19 years old in college. She has another son, 13, you said, right?
13.
Yeah, that's an honor roll student. And then as well as your daughter, who does very well in school as well, correct?
Hey, look, I'm realizing with the homeschooling, I'm realizing what kind of students my kids are. I'm like, I know y'all not acting like this in school. Because if I was a teacher, they wouldn't be on the honor roll. I was like, Lord have mercy. But yes. They kill it when they're in school. I don't know. I think they getting C's this semester dealing with me.
But that's good that you, again, I think that's what's really important is the examples that they've seen their mom and dad set. And I, as again, being a part of your family, I've seen that. So let me see. What are your thoughts on spanking? How do you feel about that? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, that's a tough one. So I'm not anti-spanking. I'm not an anti-spank person. But I am not for abuse. I think that there's a certain level of discipline that's needed. I try to go for the verbal discipline. That's my that's my preference. Because I feel like a lot of times we are not emotionally regulated ourselves before we spank. So my kids are now, like, my boys are, they're too big for all that at this point, not to say, look, I got my last spanking, I think I was like 16, with my mom, but that was not something that happened all the time. But so I believe that kids at a certain age, when they're little, you might have to pop their hand, you may have to say, hey, get over here. But there are other ways to get kids, like, I believe in taking away things that are important. That Xbox will have somebody falling out if you take that Xbox, let alone that phone.
Yeah.
And so, even when you and I were kind of chatting earlier about setting limits. And I think that if the limits are there, it shouldn't lead to that. It doesn't need, it shouldn't lead to a need to go for the spanking.
That is so true. Let me say, how do you handle sharing love fairly with your children? Do you favor one over another? How do you handle the situation between the two? Okay, so how do you even out the attention and the love that you give to your kids without showing favoritism?
Well, what my husband and I, we try to do is just take time out for the kid, have their own time. Well, with my older son, it may just be like, hey, come take a ride with me to the store, and I get to catch up and find out what's going on, what's the juice, what's popping, like, who, you got any girls you like, so that's our time. And then with my middle son, he loves ice cream. So that's our thing. Like, hey, what you want to do? Pick wherever you want to eat. I just think it's just sometimes it could be 2 minutes. It could just be come snuggle up and let's look at this picture together or let's chat together. It's because it's a different level. Some people have their kids back to back, so they can kind of like group things together. But I have such a long span, a stretch of when I had my kids that is different. I just try to do what I can do, you know.
We should take on them not having prayer in the schools now.
Well, I have enough prayer at home, so I mean, that doesn't bother me. We do enough praying in church and everything at home to, my thing is at least I can control what God we praying to when they at home. And so I don't really have, I didn't grow up praying in school, so I don't even know what that's like or what, but I definitely think that people should respect people's beliefs in school. And so if a child has a certain belief, he should be able to express it. But yeah.
Well, I do like that, and I believe that that's one of the things that what I do with my grandchildren when they're around. We're gonna pray together. They're gonna see me praying. You're gonna bless your food, and I'm gonna let them know that I'm a God-fearing man, and not God-fearing man. I'm a God-believing. I have faith because I don't fear God, and I don't like using that. So, but it is important. Now I remember when I was coming up in school, which was a while ago, we used to have prayer. We used to do the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag and all that. And really, it kind of, I think, it kind of set the tone for how we conducted ourselves in school.
Yeah.
But now we have a different way of dealing with the children, where the children feel like they can say and do whatever they want. Do you feel like that as a parent that it's okay for the teachers to discipline your child?
Well, I think that not physically. Not physically. I don't know you. I don't want you laying hands on my kid. I don't know what your intentions are. Um, and you don't know. Like Bryson had a teacher that came to me. Actually, she wrote me an email and said that he was dancing in class. And this was like 10th grade or something. And so he's shy, but he's a good dancer. We all know that. Anybody that know him know he can throw down. But I'm like, okay, so I got mad when she said it, and then I thought about it. So I said, well, what do you mean dancing in class? So I investigated, and so he was saying, hey, mom, it was free time. I was in the corner. We were working on a project, and everybody kind of, when it's free time, everybody just kind of like, and bam, get it in, dance a little bit. So I came back to the teacher and said, okay, well, he was saying it was free time. And so she started to backpedal. But she wanted me to go. This is my opinion. She wanted me to go home and beat my child because she was trying to excite me with telling me, because I had a whole vision of him in front of the class that he was cutting up like all the way. But because I asked him, but I also asked one of his friends too, what went down. So that's how I found out what went down. So I just feel like we don't know the intentions. So
Right.
if she was saying that this was ongoing, that this had been a problem, but I don't know I don't know why she decided to change up the story a little bit. So I'm thinking like, hey, that could be the same person spanking my kid. Nah, we ain't doing that. I got enough people that can stand in line if they need to discipline my kids. We're not doing that. And I mean, my thing is that I have friends that are teachers, and what they instill in these students is valuable,
Right.
very valuable. I don't see anybody. Now I can see, you might have some kids that have maybe some emotional issues. Then the parent needs to be able to talk to the teacher and say, hey, this is where my kid can take you there. Call me, let me know what's going on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So do you discuss everything with your husband when you are making decisions with your kids?
Yeah, I think that we kind of build from the same platform. So I think I know where he's going with it. He knows where I'm going with it. Sometimes we differ. We have to talk it out. We may differ in the way we're going to respond. Bryson had gotten a speeding ticket and he had Maddox in the car with him, and my husband went to like, hey, upset. And I said, hey, I'm upset too, but our kid just got pulled over by a white cop. We ain't even addressing how that could have made him feel. So we balance each other. And he's like, yeah, I ain't think about that. I said, so let's deal with that. And then we're going to deal with the speeding. So it's like we balance each other,
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I got somebody gonna be joining in with us. Because Kina, I want you to just hang in there with me. First of all, I want to say hello to Margaret from South Carolina. That's our cousin. Thank you so much. I love you, dear, for tuning in. Welcome, welcome. And we also have Miss Rachel Pope is joining in as well. Hey, Rachel.
Yes,
I already,
family.
I already know. I know you got some questions for Miss Kina. I know you got something for her. Come on with it.
I already asked the question. She addressed it very well concerning about sharing her love. But I do have this to say. I don't know if Sam has a question for her. But we sitting here looking at her beautiful face and her spirit. And my thing is Sam told me not to say this, but I want to say this. Has she ever been mistaken as her son's girlfriend when they're hanging out like that?
I told him, look, when I dropped him off at college, I was like, look, I'm going to try to see if the guys think I'm, cute or whatever. He's like, Mom, really? For real? No. No.
Yeah, because hey, that can easily happen because Kina, she does look very young. I can tell you that she's not in her 20s. I can say that. I ain't gonna say that ain't my place to say how old she is. She got a 19-year-old son. That ought to tell you something. But one of the things that
it's the lashes.
Huh?
I said it's the lashes.
It's the lashes. I know that's right. It's that bloodline. But
that's God's grace.
Yeah. So one of the things that I wanted everybody that tuned in today, I want you to take away with this. And I gotta say something because Tammy also said, she said it's a line. And other people have to know it's a line that you don't cross, whether you're a teacher or another parent. And sometimes being a parent is the line that you don't cross. But you have to make sure that they follow rules and regulations. You have to establish this so that they have understanding that they can't commit a crime and not think they're going to do the time. You got to let them know that. And so being a parent, and I consider you to be a successful one at this point, we can say anything can happen, but where you are right now, for you to have your first child going to college and your other two being as well mannered as they are, I commend you. I think that you are doing a fantastic job, and so that is so powerful in this day and time. And I can only imagine some of the struggles that you have to deal with being a parent, and having to do that. See, me, all of y'all, y'all grown, okay? But back I was like the enforcer in a way. Back in the day, if I saw one of your boyfriends and you wasn't looking, I go whisper in his ear and I tell him, say, yo, Holmes, you do not want to get your leg broke or get hit by a baseball bat or something because we ain't have it.
No.
And so
y'all was like blocking everything. Y'all was blocking. You
but yeah, but that was part of the what we do as being protectors and looking at the quality of the children that we love. And that's what you're supposed to do. It's not, some people would I'm gonna tell you, I had quite a few people that really didn't like me. And I'm gonna kind of throw this out there. I even know probably even your husband, he didn't care too much for me because I was real protective over you. Now, not nothing against him, because I understand him as a man. But let me share something what happened with me one time, right? My wife's son showed me something that said, don't hurt my mama. I ain't gonna say what he showed me, He didn't say anything. He just showed me something. Yeah. Oh, my wife's sitting over here looking at me like, okay, I don't know if I ever told her that, but yeah. But anyway, your oldest one.
Look, I grew up like this. I learned early on. You know, I have my dad, who I refer to as Carter, and I have a biological dad. Both know each other, could talk about me, no problem. My dad is deceased now, but I had a bonus dad that was there all my life, didn't play, didn't I mean, you didn't call him or you or any of the cousins, Timmy, Eric, Micah. We didn't no, I couldn't call you guys unless it was real. Like
Yeah.
no false alarm. And you made that clear early on. No
Yeah.
false alarm. And I think that's what's so important as young women and girls, knowing that, hey, you have someone in your ear, because life is just like that. People are here to manipulate you, especially young girls, especially with human trafficking that's going
Yes.
on. People think human trafficking is taking 500 girls and putting them on a freight and taking them on a boat. No, we have trafficking going on right here, where people have young girls who are troubled and have problems at home, and they find the comfort. Next thing you know, they could be staying 30 miles from home and be trafficked. So it's
Yeah.
like, having someone there that'll come and fight for you and teach you. It's so important.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I want, again, the guests and everyone to know, let's not take all this time for granted. When we have this opportunity to be with our families, make sure that you're getting to know your children,
Yeah,
understanding their needs, understand their wants, and look at them and realize that they're not your friends. They're not
yeah,
your buddy that you're going to sit down and have a drink with or smoke a cigarette, smoke a joint with, or talk about what your friend did with the next friend next door. We got to be parents. We got to be
yeah.
leaders, and we got to set examples. That's again what I really, really appreciate about you and your husband. I think that y'all have done a tremendous job with raising your children, and I find you to be an amazing Black queen in this day and time. So I take that, and all of your girlfriends that I see around you, I'm just so proud of all of you. And I just wanted to just put that out there. We are running out of time. As people know, I didn't get to say this earlier. Hey, look at that. I know that's right. Please.
Rodney.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Hey, look, down in there too. That's me. That's right.
I just want you to say this. Can we invite her back again and talk a little bit more like her career as a social service worker and working with the Department of Aging? Because those are good, vital subjects to come back and speak on.
That would be lovely. So Kina, if you wouldn't mind, in the future, which in the near future, we would like to have you come back on. I did want you to talk about the parenting because I know that you're very passionate about it. But we would love for you to come on as a social worker and to be able to share some of that information. Rachel is a social worker in her own right. And when I say that, believe me, she's always nurturing people. And so I already know where she's going.
Okay.
Social work don't pay that much now. It's a calling. When you walk into someone's house and you trying to direct them in a way where they're looking at you, you have to go in there with everything. When I first started in social work, I didn't want to be unethical and talk about God. But now I'm a lady as 40 something ish. I'm talking about God as much as I can. I'm like, if they want to fire me for talking about my God, then they can go ahead. But hey, I have to now, bring all of me in to help a family. So when they leave, look, I want to leave them better than than they were when I met them. So I mean, I just feel like we must be willing to let go of the life we have planned, so as to have the life that is waiting for us.
That is powerful. I love that. I love that. Hey, so can I ask you to say this? People to people, power to power, positive thinking people. Can you say that?
People to people. What is it? Power.
To power.
Power to power. Positive thinking people.
PTP. Hey. So everybody, hey, thank y'all for joining in. I thank you, Kina. You're an amazing young lady, a woman. You are your mom and your dad. I am so thankful that I know them. They've been an inspiration in my life. Your grandparents, all of your grandparents. I know
Shout out
all
to
of them.
Daddy and my grandma.
You know, and then your aunts and you've had quite a few people around you that you were truly blessed, and we are all so proud of you. You are
Thank
an
you.
amazing parent.
Thank
I give you
you.
that. And if I was giving out an award, you would be one of them that I would give it to.
Oh, thank you.
So with that said, I would like to say this was Rodney Grimes, Real Talk. Positive people, we would like to thank everybody that joined in. Hey, we will get Kina to come back because Kina got some more information to share with you. And this is all about us. I do believe that I am my brother's keeper. I am my sister's keeper. And everybody that they feel the same way. Hey, thank you. And I love you, darling.
Yeah, love you. God bless.
Love you.
Love you.